MTG Scoundrels, it's in the cardboard. Ladies and gentlemen, scoundrels of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Modern Weekly. Today on the docket, we have Dimir Mill against Amalia Food Combo. Both players deciding on what they're keeping. It looks like they're both keeping 7, starting with an Undercity Sewers, surveilling a land into the bin, and passing the turn. Untapped Temple Garden, going to 18. Into a Sent-Out Scout. Explores. Looks as though there is a Gilded Goose on top. So that'll be a +1/+1 counter on the Scout, and looks like keeping the Gilded Goose on top here instead of putting it in the bin. A tale as old as time. A Crab, Land, Mill 3. Looks like a Cauldron Familiar getting milled into the bin there. Passing turn, untapped drawing. Verdant Catacombs here. Fetching. Looks like finding a Shockland, bringing us to 20 to 15. Overgrown Tomb specifically. The real question here is, what does the Amalia player run out into a possible fatal push? Though it could also be a preordain, being represented by the untapped fetch land. Amalia player choosing to run out a Samwise Gamgee, attack for 2 to see if they'll block, and in this case they do. Fetch here, finding another Undercity Sewers, milling 3 cards, thanks to the Ruined Crab. Untapping, drawing. Looks like surveilled a land there off the Undercity Sewers into the bin. There's an island, mill 3. There's a Viscera Seer, a Gilded Goose, and looks like there's a Wild Growth Walker in there maybe. Three untapped mana, passing the turn. There's a Verdant Catacombs. There's a Sylvan Safekeeper, one of the new to modern cards thanks to Modern Horizons 3. Mostly been popularized thanks to Nadu before it got banned. Here it'll enter, make a food, specifically off the trigger from the Samwise Gamgee. And passing. There is a Cycled Fractured Sanity, And here is a Chord of Calling for 2. Or is that for 1? Looks like for 1. Finding a Visceraseer. And that should do it. Didn't have any answers. From there, can loop the cat out of the bin. You sack the food, bring the cat back, sack it to the seer. Scry infinite times. Drain them for all 20 of their life points. And that's how you finish it. Game 1, going to Amalia Food Combo. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. Two interesting decks here. The Amalia Food Combo list had done very well at a recent large tournament. And of course, Dimir Mill just sticks around. It is, in fact, the best burn deck in the format. Amalia Food Combo having two specific combos. As you saw in Game 1, you have the Cat Food Combo with Sam, Visceraseer, and Cauldron Familiar. Then you also have ways to get Wildgrowth Walker and Amalia together, like the very famous combo in Pioneer that has now been banned out. Gain a life, trigger the Amalia, which then triggers the Wildgrowth Walker. And you keep going until you hit 20 life, or specifically you hit power 20 on the Amalia to finish the job. Dimir Mill currently really is one of the best lists here to fight some of these decks that are very specific in what they want to find. Being able to run Surgical and Extirpate really helps them get over the top, take out the meaningful cards from the opponent when you have Flages constantly getting into the graveyard, as well as things as Through the Breach, other items that you want to see. Now, if you enjoy our content, please check the description below. Not only will you find timestamps of the individual games, but you will find deck lists for each of the individual players. And if you check the description below, you will also check out our friends at Arcane Artistry. They make wonderful food, clue, and treasure tokens in the stained glass style. Definitely check them out. They got more stuff coming down the pike. Definitely worth your time. And in the future here, be on the lookout for some shirt drops with a collab with a new sponsor, so check that out. Jacob here just recently top 8'd an RCQ, specifically on Boros Energy, one of his preferred lists, just like occasionally Murktide and Dimir Mill. And Jason here on Amalia Food Combo, also a heavy player of Eldrazi lists. The Mill player here, sideboarding a lot of stuff in and out. Modern definitely becoming an interesting format. It's really come down to about 5 of the best decks. Amalia Titan's back. The energy lists exist with Mardu Energy, Boros Energy, Jeskai Energy. And Through the Breach, which is very good at getting in Ulamog the Defiler or Emrakul the Aeon's Torn on turn 5, sometimes earlier, depending on how they ramp. of course, Dimir Frogtide still being one of the best lists in the format as well. And we're starting to see a slight resurgence in domain aggro lists. Alright, both players looking at their first sevens of game 2. Starting off, Island into Preordain. Generally here you expect to see a crab, but Preordain not a bad option. Fretting Catacombs. And there is the Gentleman's Archive Trap. A tale as old as time. Obviously here, you'd wait until they find the land, but both players friends here and just letting him know that's what's coming up next. There's the Overgrown Tomb. And now we'll see some milling. Probably should have let him cut there, but not too big of a deal. "13 cards into the bin, including a Cauldron Familiar. And a Delighted Halfling and pass. And there's the Extirpate as we mentioned earlier. When you have access to Surgical and Extirpate, it really helps to clear out these combo lists this way. And here we are targeting the Cauldron Familiar. Obvious why they kept this hand. When you have Cauldron Familiar and Viscera Seer in hand, you only need one more card to get that combo, and you have Birthing Ritual as well. Oh, and there's a Court of Calling under that Cenote Scout. Speaking of, Cenote Scout, exploring, finding the second land, playing it for turn, going to 15. Tapping 2. This probably is going to be the Amalia here. Yep. There is Amalia. Three lands here for the mill player. The Amalia player being friendly and showing him the cards that he knows. There's a fatal push, taking 3 damage. Off the ward cost. And passing. Taking 2 off a Temple Garden. And there's a Birthing Ritual. Tapping 2 more for a Samwise Gamgee. Attacking for 1. Bringing us to 14 to 13. Looks like both players confirming life totals thanks to the watery grave. Make sure somebody didn't miss something. End step, Birthing Ritual trigger. Who needs Birthing Pod, right? There's a Wild Growth Walker. Off of sacking the Cenote Scout to the Birthing Ritual. That'll get us a food. And passing. That food token brought to you by Arcane Artistry. Surveilling looks like leaving it on top. There's a surgical extraction, taking 2 life. Knowing that there's a cord in hand, going after the Amalia to break up the other combo. Finding all 4 of them here. They'll go in the exile pile with the cats. Passing the turn. There's a Cenote Scout. Explore. Court of Calling on top. Leaving it there, Wild Growth Walker trigger, gaining 3 life. Bringing us to 16 to 12. Swinging in with the team. There's a Crypt Incursion. Exile all creatures in graveyards. Gain 3 life off of each. Bringing us to 33 to 16. And then taking 5, going down to 28. There's a Viscera Seer. That'll trigger the Sam. And I'll bring another food. Birthing Ritual trigger. On the end step. Looks like deciding to grab an Orcish Bowmasters here to try to speed up the process, make Preordained a little bit worse. Sacking of a Saraseer. Pinging the mill player for 1, bring us to 27 to 16. That'll come with an Orc army. And passing. Glimpse the Unthinkable. Target player mills 10 cards. Former Modern staple. Draw for turn. Attacking him with the team here. Getting in for 9. Passing the turn, but on the end step, Birthing Ritual trigger. Deciding not to find anything. Which, unless you're seeing another Orcish Bowmasters here, I don't think you would anyway. Unfortunate. Looks like the mill player is flooding out a little bit here. 2 mana. Looks like Drown in the Lock. Targeting the Wild Growth Walker. Untapping, drawing. There's a Saraseer. Looks like missing the last 2 food triggers here, but catching this one. Hitting for 8. Or excuse me, hitting for 7. Hedron Crab is going to eat a Fatal Push here. Mill really struggling to find a mill card. This'll attack in for 8. Bringing us to 3 to 16. Birthing Ritual trigger. Choosing not to find anything. Passing the turn. Found another land. And that'll be game. Game set match going to Amalia Food Combo against Dimir Mill. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. Join us next week as we continue our tour around the Modern format. And we will see you all next week.